Joining us now, retired Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, former IDF spokesperson and senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and Jack Carr, former U.S. Navy SEAL and author of Targeted Beirut and the upcoming book, The Fourth Option. So great to see both of you. Jack, I want to go to you first, get you to set the scene for us. In your book, Targeted Beirut, you talk about Lance Corporal Bobby McNaugh, a Marine who stood guard at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut and gave female employees flowers on their way to work. And in 1983, he gave away his last rose. And you argue that this year in Beirut in Lebanon was the year that Iranian terrorism really set the tone for the decades that followed. What happened, and tell us why?
Well, that's April 1983. Our embassies hit. 63 people are killed, including 17 Americans, a lot of those working for the CIA, which will come into something I'm going to mention later about William Francis Buckley, who was later abducted. Then we have a very bloody summer with our Marines there as peacekeepers. And then October 1983, we have the barracks and headquarters bombing there that takes the lives of 241 servicemen. The Marines hadn't lost that many people in a single day since Iwo Jima in World War II. But what really happens there is that we teach our enemy a lesson, meaning let's focus on Iran specifically here. They learned that terrorism works. And even more specifically, they learned that it works very effectively through proxies. So they take that lesson away because there's a lot of tough talk out of the administration following the bombing in October. And then in early 1984, we leave the region, leave Lebanon, I should say, as quietly as you possibly can. So terrorism works. And there's a direct line between that and September 11th, 2001. But because so many CIA employees were killed in that embassy bombing, someone shows up there, William Francis Buckley, Bill Buckley. He fought in the Korean War, earned a Silver Star, Purple Heart there, ends up becoming a librarian, then going back into the military, becoming a Special Forces soldier, recruited by the CIA, and earns another Silver Star in Vietnam. And he is the chief of station, which is the CIA's most senior ranking official in the country. And he is abducted in March of 1984, and he's probably killed somewhere summer to fall of 1985, but endures horrible torture during that time frame from Iranian proxies, and his body is recovered in 1991. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. But the main point of all of that is that all of these things lead back to Iran, them using proxies, them using terrorism, and that region and the world really learning that terrorism works.
And of course, that was all after the Iranian hostage crisis. Jonathan, there's been an astonishing amount of coordination between the United States and Israel ahead of this campaign, but during the campaign as well. Israelis are, of course, unfortunately, very familiar with Iranian terrorism. The United States has experienced this dozens and dozens of times over. But right now, there are pilots in the air from the Israeli Air Force, from the U.S. Air Force, from the Navy. What kind of planning and training goes into that kind of coordination to make this a success?
Yeah, good night, and thanks for having me on here. I think it's unprecedented, and I've had the opportunity firsthand to look and listen and see what the Israeli and American militaries have done together. Obviously, it starts with intel, having access to high-level updated intel, and then sharing that intel between the two allies, and then planning together at the highest level, but also at working level, really looking at details and assessing every part of a mission, planning together, rehearsing together, training together, and then eventually executing together and doing it at what I think is the highest possible military level. Don't want to be too superfluous here, but really world-class operations. This is a very complex environment. Lots of planes flying from different countries, different directions, lots of objects in the sky, an enemy that is firing ballistic missiles and tries to employ air defense. And yet Israel and the U.S. have been able to, so far, and I hope this continues, really execute at the highest level. Shouldn't be taken for granted. This isn't something that many other countries are capable of, if at all. And I, as an Israeli, very grateful for this cooperation. I think it benefits both countries, and I'm extremely proud that we're able to do so. And of course, as always, my condolences to the families of the 6 fallen American service members that unfortunately we've got the news that they've been killed so far, and I hope that no further will be killed.
Yeah, Jack, in my opinion, the president is doing this to end the 47-year-long war from Iran on Americans and, of course, on Israel as well. But there is a healthy skepticism about the U.S. getting involved in a war in the Middle East. When officials say that Iran will be different and give the objective of destroying what's described to me as every piece of military hardware that can reach Americans and U.S. interests, is that enough as someone who served combat tours in the Middle East and watched for 20 years as we squandered treasure and blood in Afghanistan?
Sure, it's a harder sell, I think, for my generation. But just as Secretary Hegseth said, this generation hasn't forgotten the lessons of our 20 years in Afghanistan and all those years in Iraq, how we failed to adapt, how the enemy adapted faster than we did. We had so much mission creep during that time frame. That generation hasn't forgotten. They are now in positions in the administration. We have elected representatives that are taking the lessons of the past and applying them to the current problem set as wisdom. That's really all that we can do. So I do trust them when they say that, because we all lost friends over there, and we all looked up and saw our senior level leaders say the same things in front of Congress year after year after year, and have nothing really change on the ground for us. So I think we have the right people at the right place at the right time to deal with this situation. And if I could go back to the 1980s, I think that there's a whole bunch of reasons why I'd like to go back to the 80s, notwithstanding. But for this particular case, the response to Beirut 1983 in particular could have set an entirely different tone. We were still living under the specter of Vietnam at the time, so I understand the position that the administration was in. But if you can go back and you can change our response to Beirut 1983, I think a whole lot going forward turns out differently.
Amazing how the arc of history is a very long one. Jonathan, final question to you. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said tonight that when this comes to a conclusion successfully, that he believes there'll be a peace in the region and in the world that we have never seen before, that we could only dream of. What is your assessment at the end of this, and what are your hopes that this will accomplish?
Yeah, my hope is that this is a historic game changer, that we, by taking action against this evil and oppressive regime, brave action by the U.S. and Israel, will give the region kind of a reset and, first and foremost, reduce threats to Israel and to the U.S., perhaps eliminate them totally. That's perhaps the first achievement. Second achievement would be to give the Iranian people, the brave Iranian people, the opportunity to take back their country. To be frank and forthcoming, that isn't going to be easy, and it's going to take a lot of doing and probably sacrifice on behalf of the Iranian people, because this Iranian regime is entrenched, it is oppressive and brutal, and it'll take time to overthrow them. But I think what the U.S. and Israel are doing is giving them a chance. Right. And once that happens, what can happen is almost endless. The positive possibilities are beautiful. They're endless. We could see peace, coexistence, stability, prosperity for Iranians, for Iraqis, Yemenites, Lebanese. I can think of a whole slew of peace accords.
We hope the octopus is going to be, the Iranian regime octopus is eliminated, that the terror proxy groups are defunded, that they dry up, and that we can have peace in the region for Israel, the United States, and the rest of the world. Jonathan Conricus and Jack Carr, great to see you both. It's amazing to have both of you on with all of your experience and expertise. Thank you so much.